Beyond the Gates spoilers full. In Fairmont Crest, danger rarely arrives wearing a mask. It arrives dressed in charm, in favors, in warm hands that linger a second too long, and in promises that sound like rescue but feel, if you listen carefully, like a leash tightening. Lately, everything around Leslie has begun to carry that specific pressure Eddie's sense that the air is changing, that the soft glow of romance is being replaced by something sharper, something that doesn't simply threaten her art but threatens her future. She has always known how to survive in a community that feeds on appearances. She knows how to smile through suspicion and how to make desperation look like discipline. But this time, the ground under her is shifting in a way she can't flatter or negotiate away because the source of the shift is not a scandal or a rumor. It's a man, and the kind of attention he gives is the sort that can start as comfort and end as captivity. Leslie's public story is simple and noble. She wants funding for a free clinic, a place that would allow people who don't belong to Fairmont Crest to receive care without being humiliated by cost or paperwork. It's a mission that makes her look generous, purposeful, redeem-and-wait version of her the neighborhood currently needs to believe in. Yet underneath that mission is a quieter truth. She needs leverage. The clinic is not just a dream, it is a shield. With the right donors, the right partnerships, and the right paper trail, she can build an empire of goodwill strong enough to protect her from the people who would rather see her disappear. In a place like this, good deeds are currency, and Leslie is not naive about how currency works. She's tired of asking politely. She's tired of waiting for the rich to feel merciful. She is ready to take what she needs, and that's exactly why the romance that's circling her now is so dangerous. Because it isn't a romance born from softness. It's a romance born from proximity to power, secrets, and the kinds of men who don't love the collect. The weekly shifts everyone can sense are not pushing Leslie toward Teddy. If she is experiencing love, it's being written in a darker ink, one that stains faster and doesn't wash out. The gravitational pull is Marcel Malone, the man who seems almost absurd on paper, a DMV investigator with a reputation so murky people lower their voices when they say his name. In another world, a DMV detective might sound harmless, bureaucratic, forgettable. In Fairmont Crest, that kind of position can be a weapon. Marcel's access isn't about speeding tickets. It's about identities, addresses, records, patterns about knowing who is lying when they claim they've never been somewhere, and knowing exactly where to look when someone pretends they have nothing to hide. He is the kind of man who can make your life easy with one phone call or make it impossible with the same call, depending on whether he decides you belong to him or against him. That's what gives him a presence far larger than his job title, and that's why the idea of Leslie stepping into anything romantic with him makes the neighborhood uneasy. People can't quite explain their fear, so they call him shady and smirk like it's gossip. But the fear is real. It's the fear of being seen by someone who doesn't blink. Leslie notices him more than she wants to admit. It isn't just physical attraction, it's the feeling that Marcel watches her as if she's a puzzle he has already solved and is simply waiting for the right moment to prove it. That kind of attention can feel flattering when you've spent too long being underestimated or dismissed. It can also feel like relief, like finally meeting someone who doesn't require you to perform innocence. Marcel doesn't look at her like a saint. He looks at her like a woman who has survived things, done things, and can be useful. There is a brutal honesty in that gaze, and Leslie, for all her ambitions, is not someone who has ever been able to resist a door that looks locked to everyone else. Marcel is a locked door that keeps opening for her, inch by inch, offering access to something she can't name, but can feel: protection, influence. Information, Abe, even the kind of devotion that turns violent if it's denied. That devotion is what makes the romance begin to tilt. Because Marcel doesn't flirt the way men like Teddy might flirt, with sweetness and harmless words. Marcel flirts like he's testing boundaries. He asks questions that feel too specific. He remembers details Leslie didn't realize she'd revealed. He shows up at times that feel like coincidence until the coincidences pile up. And he offers help not as a gift, but as a trade, as if he's establishing a private contract between them. Leslie tells herself she can manage it. She tells herself she's not the kind of woman who gets trapped by a man's interest. She's convinced she can take what she needs: connections, warnings, favors, and walk away. But the moment she starts believing she's in control is the moment control becomes a thing she's losing. The clearest sign of how dangerous it's becoming is Marcel's warning about Joey Armstrong. Leslie has been seeking funding, and Joey, charming, connected, always orbiting the edges of legal gray, looks like a shortcut. In Fairmont Crest, shortcuts are tempting because the long route is designed to keep people like Leslie waiting outside the gates of influence. Joey offers the opposite: speed, access, introductions, and the illusion that everything is legitimate as long as a powerful name touches it. Leslie wants to believe she can use him. She wants to believe she can align with him for the clinic without letting his reputation smear her. But Marcel's warning lands differently because it doesn't sound like gossip. It sounds like territory being marked. Marcel frames it as concern, but his concern has teeth. He warns her about partnering with Joey as if he knows something he can't legally say, or as if he's already seen enough patterns to predict the ending. Leslie tries to laugh it off, tries to suggest that Joey is just another rich man playing politics, but Marcel doesn't soften. His message is simple: Joey brings danger, and the kind of danger he brings doesn't always announce itself until it's already inside your house. The implication hangs in the air. Does Marcel know Joey personally? Has he been tracking him? Is he warning Leslie because he truly wants to protect her, or because he wants to control what she does and who she deals with? Leslie can't tell, and that uncertainty is exactly what makes Marcel's presence so risky. A man who warns you may be saving you, or he may be isolating you. Either way, you end up closer to him than you intended. Leslie's mind starts doing what it always does when she feels threatened. She builds strategies. She reviews her options like chess moves. If Joey is dangerous, she needs to understand why. If Marcel is warning her, she needs to understand what he's getting out of it. If the clinic is her future, she must secure it without letting it become her downfall. But strategy requires time, and time is something Fairmont Crest doesn't grant when it senses blood in the water. The romance with Marcel is becoming visible not in public declarations, not in dramatic gestures, but in subtler ways. The fact that people see him with her, the way his attention lingers, the way Leslie's schedule starts to shift around his presence. That's when the community begins to whisper. And whispers in Fairmont Crest are not harmless. They're invitations for predators to circle. While Leslie is trying to keep her dream from turning into a trap, a different kind of danger continues to unfold elsewhere, one that is more direct, more lethal, and far less romantic. Hayley is still executing her deadly plan, and what enrages her most is not fear of getting caught, but frustration at being delayed. In her mind, the outcome is already decided. Bill must die. That isn't a fantasy anymore. It's a goal with steps, with timing, with patience that is thinning by the hour. Hayley's problem isn't morality. It's logistics. She needs a wind-out-a-clean moment where her husband is present, distracted, easy to manipulate into the role she needs him to play. But he keeps failing her, not because he suspects her, but because he's obsessed with someone else's pain. Bill, the man Hayley wants dead, is not staying still. He's moving through the crest like a storm system, pulled by conflicts he can't resist. And now he's running to Dani's house, drawn by her grief and shock after receiving her test results, acting like the kind of man who can't see how his compassion makes him vulnerable. To Hayley, this is unbearable. Every time Bill leaves her side to comfort Dani, it feels like an insult, and more than that, it feels like interference. Hayley doesn't just want Bill dead. She wants him focused on her long enough for her to deliver the ending she has rehearsed in her head. She wants him to finally stop being a symbol of control and become a body that can't speak. And yet he keeps slipping away, compelled by loyalty or guilt or something darker. His attention on Dani becomes, in Hayley's eyes, the cruelest sabotage. He is making her wait, and waiting makes her reckless. Recklessness is where plans go wrong, and it's also where tragedies accelerate. Hayley's rage begins to reshape her behavior. She stops pretending she's merely irritated. She becomes sharp, impatient, too quick to snap. She starts making mistakes that she would never have made when she was small signs that something inside her is unraveling. In a community built on performance, unraveling is dangerous. People notice. People ask questions. And if one person asks the right question at the wrong time, the entire plan can collapse. But Hayley doesn't see collapse as a warning. She sees it as a challenge. She has already convinced herself she deserves the outcome, and that belief turns every obstacle into justification. If Bill won't stay close, she will find ways to pull him back. If her husband won't cooperate, she will pressure him harder. If Dani's crisis is stealing Bill's attention, then Dani becomes part of the problem, even if Hayley never says it out loud. This is how Fairmont Crest creates its own chain reactions. Leslie's storyline is pulling her toward a dangerous romance and a risky partnership, and Hayley's storyline is tightening like a noose around Bill's life. Meanwhile, Joey always the man who turns personal chaos into opportunity quietly moves pieces of his own. Joey consulting Bill about a legal matter might sound ordinary to outsiders, like a rich man seeking advice. In Fairmont Crest, nothing is ordinary. Legal advice is never just legal advice. It's cover, it's leverage, it's strategy. The fact that Joey chooses Bill as his counsel signals something important. Either Joey trusts Bill more than he should, or Joey wants Bill close for reasons that have nothing to do with law. And that proximity becomes dangerous because it puts Bill in the center of multiple storms at once. Hayley's lethal obsession, Dani's emotional collapse, and Joey's legal maneuvering that can drag anyone into scandal if it explodes. If Leslie hears that Joey is seeking Bill's advice, her instincts will flare. She will recognize the pattern power consolidating quietly, alliances forming in private rooms, people preparing for a fight without announcing it. Marcel's warning will echo louder. If Joey is dangerous, and Joey is now tethering himself to Bill through legal counsel, then the clinic funding Leslie needs might be attached to the same web. She might realize she isn't negotiating with separate problems, but with one interconnected ecosystem of danger. Marcel could become her only source of insider, only protection whether she wants that or not. And that is the exact moment where romance becomes more than emotion. It becomes survival. Leslie begins to understand with a cold clarity that Marcel is not just a man who's interested in her. He is a man who could know enough to save her or know enough to destroy her. If she pushes him away, she risks losing the warning system he represents. If she pulls him closer, she risks giving him power over her. Every choice looks like a trap, and that's the cruel brilliance of Fairmont Crest. It forces people to choose between dangers and then punishes them for whichever danger they pick. The tension tightens further because Leslie's motivation is not purely altruistic. She genuinely wants the clinic, but she also wants what the clinic represents: a reinvention, a way to stand above whispers and accusations. That desire makes her vulnerable to men like Joey, who can fund dreams but also corrupt them, and men like Marcel, who can protect reputations but also own them. She can feel the romance turning into something transactional, something that costs more than it gives. She can feel herself being watched, measured, calculated. Yet there's still a part of Earthpart that is tired of being alone. Tired of fighting every battle without a hand to hold, that wants to surrender to the illusion that Marcel's attention is love and not a claim. Elsewhere, Hayley's frustration continues to build until it becomes dangerous in a different way. She isn't just angry at Bill. She's angry at her husband for being useless, angry at Dani for existing, angry at the universe for not delivering Bill into her hands the way she believes it should. The plan to kill Bill requires patience, but patience is a luxury Hayley no longer has. Every day that passes is another day Bill remains alive, another day he can ruin her, expose her, or simply abandon her. The more he runs to Dani, the more Hayley interprets it as a sign that she is losing control. And when someone like Hayley feels control slipping, she doesn't step back, she accelerates. She starts looking for alternate routes, alternate timing, alternate methods, anything that will remove Bill from the board before he can move again. And over all of this, Joey's legal consultation with Bill sits like a quiet match near gasoline. Maybe Joey needs advice on a deal, a contract, a liability. Maybe it's something connected to the clinic, something that would entangle Leslie even deeper. Maybe it's about protecting himself from scrutiny, building walls of legality around actions that are morally indefensible. Whatever the issue is, the act of consulting Bill signals that Joey is preparing for something. In Fairmont Crest, preparation is often the first visible sign that a strike is coming. And the terrifying part is that multiple strikes may be coming at once. By the end of this stretch, the lines begin to blur between romance and surveillance, between charity and leverage, between comfort and vulnerability. Leslie can feel the danger in her love life, but she can't tell whether the danger is Marcel himself, the world Marcel is trying to shield her from, or the fact that she is walking toward Joey's orbit even after being warned. Hayley can feel her plan slipping, but instead of retreating, she is sharpening it, furious that Bill's attention keeps drifting to Dani's crisis as if Dani's pain matters more than Hayley's ambition. Joey, meanwhile, steps closer to Bill under the polite banner of legal counsel, and every step he takes seems designed to pull more people into the same tightening circle. In Fairmont Crest, the most frightening tragedies are not the ones that arrive suddenly. They are the ones that develop slowly, seductively, disguised as love, disguised as help, disguised as the ordinary rhythms of a wealthy community protecting its own. Leslie is about to learn that a romance can be the most efficient trap a person ever walks into because it persuades you to lock the door from the inside. And as Hayley's frustration pushes her closer to a breaking point, and Joey's legal maneuvering brings Bill deeper into dangerous territory, the Crest begins to feel like a place where every kindness is bait and every desire is being used as a weapon, setting the stage for a single misstep to become the moment everything turns irreversible.